Welcome to My.Na Properties with Ashwin Berry. Now, as the world tries to mitigate climate change, every human being has to do their part to live a more sustainable life. Now, Pupkewitz Megatech has a solution specifically catered to Namibians. On today's show, we shall be focusing on the Cube 800.
When we started with the Cube, I probably first need to explain to you why it's called the Cube. I think you can figure it out yourself, why it's called the Cube. In the 800 for the engineers around here and the accountants, it's because it's 800 high. It will perfectly fit on the table, under your workspace, in your garage, so that's where the name comes from. When we started with this whole concept about 2 years ago, we started with a discussion to understand, obviously you can see we've got a fully fledged solar store on the States. We started with the concept to say, if we have this, and then the what if questions, all these what if questions come, and then all the risk questions come, and then seeing about if something blows up, who's going to carry the risk, and what about the finance, and then all these things. So that's why we went for a sort of an all-inclusive, a complete solar solution that can work for the Namibian market. Obviously, if I say the Namibian market, I also refer to something that can work in our conditions. It's not something that we pulled off a shelf and tried it for, let's say, trial and tested from now on. It's something that we've tested for 2 years already. What is also important to say that it's not really something new, but it's something that we've packaged into a solution to make it sort of easier for residents, for farmers, and for anyone that wants to live greener, to just have something available, and then something that you can monitor, whether it's on your phone, whether it's just by literally pressing buttons on the unit. So it's the same product that we've been selling in the retail area. We've just literally boxed it in a solution. Now, this solution is a 3-in-1 solution. It can act as a generator for you. It's obviously a smallest generator. It can also act as a UPS for you if you're a smaller, commercial business. And most important, is the savings that you will generate for yourself via solar. As I've said, the Cube is a pre-assembled unit where we've done the quality vetting, the testing, and we've learned with the product. All you need to do on this stage is basically connect the product to the grid, as well as to install your panels. It is also important to mention that this is a complete EPC solution. Don't worry, Megatech is not becoming an installer. We honor our clients. I think that's the most important. But in this case, we partner with our clients. We partner with our clients for pre-installation visits to your house, to sort out the sizing of the system that you're going to need, as well as the engineering, the installation, and last but not least, we've partnered with the banks, Namibian banks, asset finance raisers, to make the product affordable and actually easier to bring into your house. I think it's also important to mention that you partner with the Pupkewitz group. We've been around for 120 years. It gives the necessary trust that we cannot exactly run away after we've sold something to you. I've dealt with the fundraising part via our banks. Obviously, you can buy the unit cash. It's a finance lease model, as well as you can take extra credit out on your existing bond. If you've paid in your bonuses, extra money into your bond, so if it's a flexible bond, you can access that again. Then obviously, like I've said, we've tested the product, and we're quite confident with the product that we're going to sell. Warranties and guarantees. Gert is going to talk about the amount, what that the unit costs, but all inclusive of VAT and installation is 170,000 Rand if you just round it down. Then if you spend money like that, it's important that warranties and guarantees are in place. Because when things go wrong, nobody wants to have that discussion. So let's rather have this discussion up front. It's important that we, like I've said, we partnered with our installers, with our clients in the different regions to make sure that they are accredited and certified on our products, on the Cube, but also on any other product that we're selling. Most of the guys all the guys that we've signed up already, they agree to a 1-year workmanship after installation. Otherwise, just to make sure that you stand by the product after it's been installed as the installer. After sales support is something that we're not good at in Namibia, because we import most of our products, particularly if you move into the space. I'm also glad to say that we've opened a Megatech Technical Service Center. I think it's about almost exactly a year ago. We have 2 engineers, 2 full-time engineers, literally opening bonnets, working on the products, the inverters as well as the batteries. So we are 100% capable to support the product after the sale. It's also important to note that that we've got remote access to the product. So if you're a farmer, we don't have to drive out to a farm. As long as you've got, and I'm talking a little bit under correction, as long as you've got, I think that will change as well, as long as you've got internet, we will be able to access your product, we will be able to find out. At least we can do a quick assessment whether the accredited installer must go out, or whether the product must come back and we do certain things, or we just sort it out for you online. And maintenance, we've learned that from MTC. It works on a pay-as-you-go basis. So it's not included. Maintenance is not included in the price of in the 170,000. But we've got the same guys that installed your products. They will be available for maintenance afterwards. The washing of your panels, that kind of stuff. Come on, guys, you can all do that yourself. I think that's something simple. Very important for the banks plus insurance companies is these units are serialized. You will see on the side of the unit later. That makes it easily identifiable. That is important, obviously, to prove ownership, which gets to the next point. To also say that although the unit is big and weighs about 120 kilograms, it is still movable. That gives access to the rental market. If you're a small commercial business, it gives you access that you can move. When you move your product with you. The only thing that you need to do is, you have to move your panels with you. It does not become a fixture to the building. So, I know there's certain clauses in the rental agreements. In the part that I've stressed up to now already is all installations will be done by a certified installer, our clients. After the installation, before our client gets payment, there must be a commission sheet to be completed. That gives comfort to the bank, to the insurance company, as well as you as the client, as well as you as the installer to know my client is happy. I can leave here and my client is happy. These are things that we're dealing with on a daily basis. Unhappy clients where things go wrong, where we need to spend more money on it, and unfortunately that reputation risk is just too big that we can just leave that unattached. The last part about the product from my side is that it's expandable. So this is a 5 to a 6 kilowatt inverter that's in here. It is expandable. You can literally link it up parallel, I think, if I've got it right. You can link your batteries parallel as well. You can increase your 10 kilowatt to 30 kilowatt. You will just have 3 of these things. Then I'm just briefly I'm not gonna spend a lot of time, but we've worked out a flow diagram of how this whole process will work. I don't think I've got a pointer, but I'm going to try to explain to you. So I'm going to start on your side, on the left-hand side of the screen. So it's typical, your client, we will have different sales avenues will come for a request. And then Megatech will send out an installer to your site, your house in this case, or a small business, to do a pre-site inspection. If it is a unit, you just need the unit, you just need to connect it. there's no variation order or something needs to change to your property or to your DB board, then it will be a normal installation. Then you go down, we give you the proposal, and then we go to the next step. If it is something in your house, for example, you say, I've got 3 geysers, this thing will not deal with 3 geysers. Then you say, okay, but hang on, I want to invest in solar geysers as well. Or I don't need 3 geysers, I actually need 1 big geyser. Then that's something that we can help you with as well, and that's where it becomes a variation order. It's not included in the 170, but it's part of the pre-site visit where you can actually make use of the electrical installer that's going to be there. That person can help you. Once we've got that, we look at the finances. If you've got your own finances, you go down. If that's a cash transaction, it's an outright transaction. If it goes up, you go to your finance house. It can be your own bank, it can be a bank, it can be an asset finance raiser. It gets approved, it moves into the next one. It's been approved, we receive the payment, then installation happen. After installation happened, client is happy, please sign on the dotted line. We get pictures of your installation, as well as a document that are completed, for the reasons what I've just mentioned earlier. We save that on our system. If there's any problems, we just go to that. We've already had the agreement with our suppliers. They know us. They've been dealing with us for 3 to 4 years already on these particular products for 2 years. And they trust us. The warranty and guarantee process just becomes much easier. Once everything is signed, we pay the installer, and you've got a happy client.
So, Ole mentioned that the cube is a 3-in-1 solution. Can you elaborate more on that?
So, we opened our My.Na branch in the first week of September. So, typically when we open a branch as a business, we look at a couple of things. You need a UPS to protect your equipment, you need a generator in case the power goes out. And in the times we are now, we have solar saver that sort of saves your power while the sun is shining. The key thing with the conventional solutions is what you would see is if you look across the road, you've got a fairly big generator standing under the tree waiting for the power to go off. It does nothing else. You've got a UPS that does power conditioning for you, but very little. And every 2 years you need to replace batteries on it. And then the solar saver is just an extra cost, but it saves you money. So when we looked at the cube, in My.Na, we installed total capacity of about 10 kilowatts. It's a level 13.3 kVA of panel, and we installed the same amount of panels. So that allows us to be off-grid for about 80 to 90% of the time. We've got a bit of feedback, we save money, and we don't have an asset standing around doing nothing. The convenient bit is it also does the power conditioning for us. In My.Na, it was particular, we could also see what the grid is doing to see just how dirty the power is. Now, for commercial businesses, that is quite unique. They touch on that it's 5 kVA, but it's totally scalable. It's really not limited. If you look to your left, what we've got installed here is very similar. It's about 15 kVA. It's 3 5 kilowatt inverters with the same amount of battery and panels on the roof. So this entire back shop and everything running here, and if I had to guess, and no one can correct me, is running off the unit right now with energy we put in it during the day. The key bit is we're getting more value for our capital. So if you're in business, you know the real value in that. If you're at home, you might think, I don't need a UPS. Now, the key thing that we need to remember about dirty power, it will not kill your TV or your decoder first. The thing that will kill first is your fridge or your air conditioner or your washing machine. Inverter technology is becoming a lot more prevalent around the world because it uses less power, it's nice and clean, but it does not like inconsistent power. Nice, stable 220 volts, it's 50 hertz. If it does this, it will sort of, you might turn on your washing machine and it won't work. Happened to me. So if you put this in your home and you've got the power conditioning, you'll also end up protecting those appliances in the long term.
Thanks a lot, Greg. Owen, is there any national standards or grid codes that one needs to follow or apply when installing a cube in the country?
Yes, so it's also one of the reasons why we chose to go with the sun-sink inverter specifically, especially when you are connecting to small and medium voltage networks as with the city of Windhoek or the RED around the country. It needs to adhere to the NRS 97 grid code, and that's the reason why we chose that, to ensure that we are allowed to connect to the grid, but also to ensure that the unit can safely disengage from the network if the mains were to fall away.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Okay, one last question for you. So for the cost that was displayed now to the audience of 143,000 roughly, what will the monthly repayments be, let's say, for that system?
It's going to entirely depend on your finance, and you need to speak to your bank on that. If you look at the typical products, you would see if you use a normal vehicle asset finance type model, or your unsecured models, it's typically run over 5 years, which is about 60 months. If you're a private person, it includes that, so it'll be the 170,000. Taking a couple of assumptions, it'll probably be in the region of about $3,700, more or less, depending on the rate you receive from your bank. If you've got finance available in your bond now, rule of thumb has always been it's about 1,000 rand for every 100,000 you borrow. But that's all depending on interest rates. Assuming you've got about 10 years left, 170,000 will probably be about $1,700 per month additional that you'll have to pay.
Thanks a lot, Greg. That's why you are financial director. Owen, last question for you. So what type of energy savings is expected from this type of system? Let's say for someone that is running.
So when we talk about energy saving, we would have to then ensure that there are panels also connected to the unit. So when you keep that into account and you ensure that you have enough panels, depending on what your load is, you are looking at about 80 to 90% energy saving, depending on what your base load is, obviously. There will always be moments when you are going to draw some power from the grid. Again, depending on what your peak load is, depending on what your load is at night. But we are looking at about 80% efficiency or energy saving. You can go off grid. Again, it depends on your load.
Thanks a lot, Owen. So ladies and gentlemen, those were the few questions for my panels. If there is anyone that has two or one question that is really keeping you up, you're welcome to raise your hand and someone will bring the mic to you so that Owen and Greg can answer your questions.
And me being an installer, I've seen it a lot of times. People don't really consider the current, which then ends up burning stuff on site. You mentioned 13 amps. Is it per string or is it a combination of the two strings?
No, that's per MPPT.
So then
It's
basically
per string,
it gives me 26 amps.
Yeah, collectively.
You get power from the grid into the box. Is there a possibility to do the other way around, where then I can feed back into the grid, especially in the event now that with net metering, and maybe there's a possibility that I can earn a few bucks if I feed back into the grid. Thank you.
Yes, actually, I feel quite embarrassed to not have mentioned that. You can feed back power to the grid. If your consumption is low and you have enough panels, you overcome your load, basically you can feed excess power back into the grid and then you can get compensated for that.
at Pupkewitz Megatech with Gert Berger, who is the financial director. Gert, how's it going?
Good, and you?
Very fantastic. We've just witnessed the launch of the Cube 800. Could you tell us just briefly, in general, what's the Cube 800 about? Why is it essential to the Namibian citizen?
So what makes the Cube 800 unique is we took a product that we know that people generally would buy in pieces and have to find their own installer, and we packaged it in a single unit. As you can see behind us here, we provide access to an installer, and we allow you to deal with a single entity being Pupkewitz.
All right.
And it also puts our brand behind it.
Yes.
So we give you, as a general Namibian user, peace of mind that if something goes wrong, you can come back to us and we will sort it out for you.
All right. So it was developed in Namibia.
So we've developed it in conjunction with our suppliers, but we've improved it a little bit, and we've worked with products we know.
Okay.
We know the real batteries, we've dealt with them quite a bit, and we know the SunSync inverters. It's a combination we've tested over the last 2 years, and we know it works and it's suited to the Namibian conditions.
Okay, so, all right. Okay. So, I mean, speaking of Namibian public, who seeks to benefit the most from making use of the Cube 800?
It's anyone who's looking to be more green or being less dependent on grid energy. If you want to go green, if you want to go solar, the Cube 800 is a product that you can look at. And it's also not tying you to your specific property. If you've got a small business or you're renting a property, it is completely movable. Yes, it weighs 120 kilograms,
Yes.
but it's not that that's your wall. You can pick it up and move it with you.
All right. Okay. So let's talk a bit about the capacity. Like, what can the ordinary Namibian household be able to make use of it for? I understand you have to connect it to solar panels as well.
So the Cube 800 is 6 kVA or 5 kilowatts.
Okay.
And it's got 10.2 kilowatt hours of battery in it. So typically it's a 3 to 4 bedroom house. You can have a fridge and a freezer, lights, a TV, a decoder, a kettle, and an iron, depending on how much wattage it uses. Typically things that make cold, things that make warm, they use a lot of power. It's the rule of thumb. And an aircon or two. And ideally you not want to run all of them at the same time.
Yes.
So you can run those, but solar water heating or normal water heating, rather, if I correct myself, that will not work with the Cube.
All right.
But for normal Namibians, we can also help with the solar water heating combined with the Cube.
All right.
So you can be even more green.
Okay. So,
The key thing as well is the single unit is 5 kilowatt, but if you've got a bigger need, it can be bigger as well. You can parallel them up to 9 units.
Wow.
So the sky's the limit.
yeah. So it's not just about wanting to, create a renewable energy solution. I mean, for Namibians, it's not just about protecting the environment. It's not just about climate. It's cheaper in the long run. I can imagine. How long is the guarantee?
So the guarantee on the inverter is 5 years. The guarantee on the battery is 10. The key thing is both of them will last you longer.
Yeah.
The panels you'll typically install with this, they've got a guaranteed span of 15 to 20 years.
Wow.
So even after you've paid for it, it'll continue saving you money in the longer run.
All right.
From a green energy perspective, what makes the Cube unique is the batteries they've got in it. The batteries are what we call second life. It is greener than your typical lithium battery in the sense that these are batteries that were in their previous life used in EVs, but they still get a second life
Wow.
as a battery in a residential solution, which means that from a carbon perspective, you're not contributing new carbon.
Yeah.
It's actually better.
Wow. And you do the installation yourselves as Megatech?
We partner with our installers, who are accredited installers that are accredited by Megatech and our technical service center, and they do the installation for us.
All right.
What makes us unique is that partnership and partnering with our clients and empowering our clients as well to grow their businesses.
All right. So now, as the financial director, you're the right person to ask, what is the price? Let's talk money. How much does it cost?
So the Cube is in the region of $170,000, including that. And that is the Cube, including its panels and including the installation. Obviously, it's a standard installation. Should you want the Cube, you can come to us. The installer will go to your property and have a look. If everything is normal, standard installation, you'll be fine. If they need to do a bit of extra work, obviously there'll be a bit of extra cost. But again, it's a never better opportunity for you to look at your complete solution than now.
All right, and after sales support, we understand that it's not particularly common for people to be diligent with that, for people to be willing to offer after sales support. Is there something Pupkewitz Megatech will be offering?
That is extremely important to us as a business. A little more than a year ago, we've opened what was called the Technical Service Center. It's specifically designed to look after the products we sell. It's based in Namibia. If there's any technical problem with the product, we will look at that in Namibia. And the key thing with that as well is these cubes are all internet connected. On the side here, you should see what is called a logger. The guys on the camera can't see it.
All right.
It connects to the internet.
All right.
If it's a fault that we can see remotely, we can solve the fault remotely,
Yes.
or we will see if we need to send out an accredited installer that will come out to your property and we will solve the problem for you.
All right, thank you very much for giving us this wealth of information on the Cube 800, and we certainly hope that it is for you what it ought to be for the Namibian public, which is a reliable, renewable energy solution. In fact, we know it is, and hopefully people can latch onto it.
Thank you very much.
All right, so I was just talking to Gert Berger, who is the financial director of Pupkewitz Megatech, about the Cube 800, your latest renewable energy solution.